What is... Wait for it. Shaking, it's your boy, Mark Cordone, Golden Mike 97 with my girl, Holly, the dual redheads. You're in trouble, internet. There's two redheads, two natural redheads on the internet that are about to take over. Holly, it's good to have you. We're going to be telling your story today. For those of you who haven't met me, my name is Mark Cordone. I am the founder of the Joy Revolution and also the founder of, what else? I'm founder of Make Money Coaching. And we are at episode 97 of the Golden Mike. Holly, you know why we have 97 episodes?
Because you haven't gotten to 98 yet?
Because we haven't gotten to 98. That's a good answer. But it's because you cannot cancel me. Mike Finelli, I see you watching over there in Costa Rica. You cannot cancel me. I write 97. I'm going to go to 98. And you know what? Next Monday, we're going to have our 100th episode. So stick with us. I'm going to call you back, Holly, to like be a part of the big shindig. Fiona, it's good to see you. Check that out. Check out Technology. Fiona in Canada, it is really great to see you. More than the Joy Revolution, more than Make Money Coaching, I am a positive psychologist, which means this. All I ever ask my clients is, number one, on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you feeling today? And then number two, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you feel like you're living in your full purpose? It's that simple. Fiona's taken the course with me, so she knows what's going on. Finelli, it's good to see you. That's right. You got your shades on over there in Costa Rica, brother. Can't wait to see you this weekend. That's cool. And so this is the thing. I want to ask you, Holly. It's a double-barreled question because you're a very smart person and you're going to be like, oh, that's not a real question. But like, how happy are you and how much are you living in your full purpose right now?
So I'm happy all the time. So I'm like a 10 every day. Every once in a while I go to like a 9.9, but I'm pretty much a 10 every day. Am I living my full potential? Like, you have no idea this last month, like all these ideas and stuff that I want to do in my head. So yes, I'm living my full potential, but I give that an 8 because there's like so much more that I want to do.
That's so freaking cool. You're still on the journey, right? And it's cool that you've always been a 10 because we were talking before this and we heard you get the chemo shits, or sorry, not the chemo shits, the chemo farts. Like when you're trying to get through some stuff, right? And because today what we're actually talking about is autoimmune, and like, from what I hear, so many people have autoimmune disease and don't even know it. They think it's one thing when it's another. And so I'd love for you to help educate us on that. What are the symptoms? What we should be looking out to? Holly is the author of Thriving in the Workplace with Autoimmune Disease. Oh, and she put herself on the cover. You're so full of yourself. You are so full of yourself. You are so arrogant. Nobody puts themselves on the cover of a book unless they're crazy or they're full of themselves. No one puts themselves on the cover of the book. So hold up your book again.
Yeah.
We can get that baby on Amazon.
I got the boss pose going, right?
I've got the explosive orgasm pose going. Someone just oh yeah, it's that type of day already. So you are the author of this book. You're a certified national health promoter, right? And the final thing is you're a redhead. You're a natural redhead like me.
Yes.
And so like you can't go wrong. Stop laughing, Fiona. You can't go wrong when you're a natural redhead. By the way, it is good to be back on the Golden Mike. I see you guys. I see you guys watching the show right now. Comment. We're going to have a good time. We're coming to our 100th episode and we're going to have fun. So given all of that, for those of you, I see you watching, for those of you who feel like you're living life to its fullest potential, or you're coming close like Holly is, and you're really happy on a daily basis, Holly, put it up. Give us some hearts. Give us some hearts. We want to see you giving us some hearts right now. Boom, 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 boom. Let us know that you're living life at its fullest. That's the part that I love about positive psychology. Folks who are living life at their fullest. Now, here's the part that I don't like about positive psychology. People think that positive psychology is about like happiness every day, Taco Tuesday 24/7, like rainbows across the sky. It's all about happiness all the time. Holly probably wouldn't be here if she didn't and wouldn't have a story to tell if she didn't talk about the ups and the downs and the all arounds of life.
And wait. So first of all, there's nothing happier than Taco Tuesday. Like on the scale of 1 to 10, Taco Tuesday is like a 12.
I think Mike Finelli just gave you a double heart for that. Mike Finelli's like, hell yeah. There is nothing like that. But the folks often think that positive psychology is just that, the Taco Tuesday, the happiness aspect of things. And the thing about positive psychology is that it's about the ups and the downs and the all arounds of life. So you know what? You might have been super happy last week, and now you're tuning into the dual redheads, and you're like, I just don't feel it today. I'm not as happy anymore, right? How many redheads does it take to make you happy, whoever you are? Fucking asshole. And then I just call the random viewer a fucking asshole. And number two is that you could have been, Holly's like counting the minutes down until she gets off this show. And then number two is you could have been in like something like a relationship, a job for years and years and years, and you were living to your full purpose. You loved it, and all of a sudden you're like falling out of love with it. Maybe autoimmune disease is creeping up and it's messing you up. Mike Finelli, I gotta throw this one. Mike Finelli threw the 5 taco challenge down. Love you, Mike Finelli. Fiona saying the same thing. Riding the wave of joy, the ups and the downs with my friends. And then, damn it, you got the Taco Tuesday going on here, Fiona. Everyone's talking about tacos.
Can we cut this show short so I can go make some lunch? Because I am totally craving tacos right now.
It's all about the Taco Tuesday. Let's cut it short, but you have a story to tell. I want you to tell that story.
Yeah. Did you know that I was a psych major in college?
I did not know that you were a psych major. So we're gonna start talking psych shit in a second. But for those of you who are there, for those of you who are not, like, I couldn't necessarily give a heart, like, because I'm not feeling fully happy right now, or I'm not feeling fully in purpose. I can't say that with authenticity and honesty. That is cool. That is your journey. Your heart is beating just like Holly and Mark and the other redheads across the country. That's your story, and you're going to tell it. That's just the ups and downs and all arounds of life, y'all. So if you're in that sort of downward spot where you're like, oh man, it's just, I'm kind of grinding through right now, finding my way, give me a thumbs up. Give Holly a thumbs up. You're living your life. And do it. Now here's the last thing. This is the reason why I am a positive psychologist in the first place. It's the idea of hope. It's the idea that if you're a 10 on life, you feel like tomorrow is going to be an 11. If you're a 1 in life, you feel like tomorrow will be a 2. Wherever you're at, tomorrow is going to be a better day. And you probably had to think that when you were going through chemo.
Yeah.
Like, the worst has passed, it's going to get better. The worst has passed, it's going to get better. If for those of you, whether you're an up or a down or an all around, if you're hopeful, like I seriously mean this, if you're hopeful about tomorrow, there's another button down there. There is another button down there, and it is called the wow face. And Holly and I are about to explain it to you. Holly, show them how you make a big old wow face. Oh, delayed wow face. Amazing.
So there's actually 2 redheads that coined this like quote thing about better days tomorrow. The first one was Scarlett O'Hara, right? Like something about tomorrow's a better day, and then the other one was Little Orphan Annie. the sun will come out tomorrow. So, it's all about the redheads, and it's all about tomorrow being a better day.
And then there's
Just saying.
and then there's the natural
And then there's
redhead
you. Yeah.
And then there's the natural redhead and the Asian redhead. So so we're getting some wow face, Fiona. Thank you for the wow face, and y'all, thanks so much for entering.
How did you know I was Asian?
I just got that Asian radar, baby. I can spot one a mile away. Amazing. So with all of that said, Holly, what is your story?
My story.
Yeah.
So right. I guess I'll start at breast cancer. I was diagnosed on my 29th birthday. And talk about a gift, right? Some people want, I don't know, earrings, flowers, a nice dinner out or something like that. I get cancer. My boyfriend, we were living in sin, of course, because, that's what you do these days. 2 days later, he proposed. So it was 48 hours. Yeah, 48 hours, you have cancer, and will you marry me? So, that's kind of how the story started, I guess. And then,
wow, that's one hell of a way to put an ultimatum down.
Right. Yeah, he had no idea what he was in for.
Wow. Now he knew already that you had told him.
Right. Yeah. So we had been shopping for rings, and I had been going through all the tests. So I mean, neither of the two were a surprise, but but they were, right? Because you're never really fully ready for either, I don't think.
Yeah.
So so then I went through, let's see here, surgery, and then chemo, and then radiation. So that whole year was just, we went to the Justice of the Peace to get married. So we didn't plan a traditional wedding. But yeah, you talked about, I had the, smelled like chemo funk and had the walking farts, and I'm trying to be this sexy fiance, and I still have the walking farts, right? He still has to put up with them. And, I told you were in for it, right? And
I feel like that's going to be a good spin-off for the zombie show run on AMC. The Walking Farts.
Maybe I need to hold off on those Taco Tuesdays or something.
Well, you know what? I mean, dude, you got the Walking Farts already. Taco Tuesday every day. Fuck it. I mean, and you know what's funny is I had no idea that one of the side effects were like crazy flatulence.
Oh yeah.
Did you guys watching know that like crazy flatulence was part of the chemo side effect? You're trying to be like super sexy for your the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, I mean, it kills your GI tract, right? And it's So, Anyway, but no. So we got married 10 days after treatment ended, and I was bald on our wedding day, and then let's see, a month later he deployed, and then a year. So he came back. I was still sick. Like I was not getting better, and I couldn't figure out why. Like I kept going back to the doctor. I kept getting tests. And they're like, oh, well, you've been through a lot. You've been through chemo. You've been through everything. Like, you're just supposed to be this sick. And I'm like, no, I'm not trying to compare, but I'm 39. I'm, considering all things considering, like relatively healthy. But, people in my support group are out running marathons. I can't get out of bed. Like, what's wrong with me? So finally, a year later was when I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's, which is an autoimmune disease. And it's basically the autoimmune component of hypothyroidism. Okay.
So talk a little bit more about like, I've heard of Hashimoto's and so you're talking about the sort of the thyroid issues, but like, what does that mean to live with Hashimoto's?
So actually, when I was diagnosed, my doctor just kind of said it in passing. And I remember like coming home and I was like, wait, what did he just say? Like something about some town in Japan? Like what's going on?
Yeah. And by the way, that's how I knew you were Asian, because I could spot the Hashimoto's. Fucking A. So he's like, you want to drop the town in Japan? We got jokes all day. So like, no, seriously, like, so he kind of said it in passing,
right.
And
this doctor does that.
And this is like your Western doctor, like
right, an endocrinologist,
okay.
like a doctor who does this on a daily basis.
Okay.
Yeah. He ended up getting fired a couple years later. It took me a while to come to my senses, but anyway. But yeah, so basically there's hypo and hyperthyroid. And in complete simplistic layman's terms, hypothyroid is like a really, really slow thyroid. Hyperthyroid is a really, really fast thyroid, right? Mm-hmm. So it kind of like slows things down in the body or speeds things up. And then you add an autoimmune component to it, and the hypothyroid becomes Hashimoto's, the hyperthyroid becomes Graves' disease. So like with Graves' disease, you get the, kind of like the heart palpitations and things like that. With Hashimoto's, pretty much all you want to do is sleep. Okay.
So like 90% of college students have Hashimoto's. Is what I'm hearing. No, but
or they're just hungover.
Yeah, exactly. So what was the treatment for?
Wait. Maybe that was my problem.
I was on the sauce. I forgot to tell you that. That was also the cause of my walking farts. The tequila shots.
Wow, you know what? I think I just totally solved all my health issues. I just need to lay off the booze and the tacos, and boom.
Dude, that is not a good mix. The hard liquor and the taco. Yeah, let's lay off with that. But let's talk about what. Okay, so they said it in passing, right?
Right.
What happened from there? Did you have to do your own research, or what? Did he say, okay, this is how to get rid of Hashimoto's? Like.
They gave me medicine, and of course I go home and hit up Dr. Google because that's what we do.
Yeah.
But honestly, like after cancer and after not getting better, I was like, okay, cool. I have a diagnosis. I have some pills. Like I'm ready to roll, right? Like, okay, let's get this show started. Like let's get back to life and let's get back to living again. And that's kind of where I was at. I mean, I did a little research, but I just didn't care at that point. I'm like, okay, I got my diagnosis. I got my drugs. We're going to rock and roll. But it wasn't until, trying to think, probably another 4 years, maybe. So I'm just down this path where I'm getting better a little bit, but not really. Right. And then fast forward 4 years. So I'm living this life of 4 years that I have, migraines, right? I've got migraines every day. I've got this like debilitating fatigue. I've got not just walking farts, but explosive diarrhea. I called them space shuttle launches. I mean, it was 5 and 6 trips to the bathroom a day. And it was like, if I start running, get out of my way because I will plow you down because we don't want an accident, right? Like that was what I was dealing with. And finally, it was about 2015. So a few years ago, I learned about alternative medicine. I learned about, actually taking care of your health and eating, nutritious foods and eliminating toxins. So I fired my doctor. I found a new doctor. I went gluten-free and dairy-free and sugar-free pretty much overnight. And that moved the needle. And my doctor also told me that and don't even ask me about the numbers. I'm not a thyroid doctor, but my T4 wasn't converting to T3, which meant the medicine I was on Synthroid, and the medicine that I was on basically wasn't working. So the medicine that I was on for like 4 or 5 years wasn't working. Thank you. So I'm on a new medicine that was working, and I changed my diet. So that moved the needle, but not 100%. So I was still dealing at that point, still dealing with some health issues.
Okay.
So
how are you today? Are we getting the, as Mike Finelli calls, blast off? Let me see, running
I love that. Oh my goodness. That's awesome. Yes, blast off.
Is that still a part of the daily habits? Like, have those things subsided?
Well, yes and no. So yes, from the dietary perspective, because I eat completely clean right now. But I had, and we can get into this in a minute, but I had a major health crisis last year. Sure. And it literally, like, my health plummeted more than it ever had. So I am completely clean right now. I really am only eating fruits and vegetables with like one kind of, bonus meal a week. Sometimes tacos. Yes.
Okay. That matters. That matters.
Yeah,
Because I was like, bonus meal, like I want to make sure it wasn't like a fucking wafer or something like that.
Oh yeah,
bonus, so you can eat like a pizza, right?
No. Unless, gluten-free and vegan. Although let me just digress.
That's not a pizza.
No. You want to know what gluten-free vegan pizza tastes like? Okay, so shit. you know, like
it
you wake
like
up.
Shit.
No. Listen. So you wake up the next day, like after you're eating your pizza, you wake up the next day, you come down to the kitchen, and there's that cardboard box on the table, and you open it up, and there's no more pizza left, but there's like lines, right? Those little lines that the pizza leaves. So if you were to like hold up the cardboard box and lick the lines, that's what gluten-free vegan pizza tastes like.
Wait, hold on. I need to ask you this.
Yeah.
Have you held up the cardboard box before and licked the lines? Because in order to make that comparison, you have to have done that.
I haven't, but I can only imagine.
Okay.
That's what it tastes like.
I gotcha.
Right.
So it's still the road. It's still a process that you're in.
Yes.
But
I'm on the healing trajectory. I'm on a path right now between my nutrition and my supplements that I'm finally detoxing the correct way and finally getting whatever crap is in there out. And finally getting my body to start moving again. But, all these years of damage, like it doesn't get better overnight, right? It takes a long time.
Yeah. And Mike actually is talking about, he's gluten-free and dairy-free as well. Yep. Totally life-changing. I wonder, Mike, if you had the same type of either symptomatology or things, what your life was pre-gluten-free, pre-dairy-free. So thanks for sharing that, Mike. And please keep it going. Now I'm curious, we oftentimes hear the word autoimmune disease, right? I have an autoimmune disease, right? Is that like do you consider it like a full-on disability?
Yes. So autoimmune, it's and again, in layman's terms, you can invite your doctors on the show to go into the details, but in layman's terms, your body's attacking itself. And it is in 2009 in the United States of America, the Americans with Disabilities Act was amended to include the immune system and the endocrine system. So if there was ever a gray area before, since 2009, autoimmune disease is considered a legal disability in the United States under the American with Disability Act. And here's what gets interesting is that there's 54 million Americans with autoimmune disease. That doesn't count all the ones who have all the symptoms but haven't been diagnosed. And the majority of the people don't even know that they have a legal disability. I mean, whether you're healthy with an autoimmune disease, whether you're struggling with an autoimmune disease, like you are legally, you have legal rights.
Okay.
And most people don't know that. Isn't that crazy?
Yes, it's crazy. Well, I think also and I don't know about you, but when I remember sort of the stigma early on when I started hearing autoimmune disease and the sort of the kind of symptoms that were around it. And I mean, the symptoms are great around it. There's a wide range of symptoms, but I remember being like, people saying like, yeah, that's like this catch-all for people who are lazy. You know what I mean? Like, it's not this real thing. Like, I'm sure you've heard it too. Like, it's not real.
Oh yeah.
Like,
drink more coffee. You're faking it. Take a pill. You're lazy. Oh yeah, I've heard it all.
Yeah, and so I guess that would lead to the next
You look
question.
fine. What do you mean you're sick? You look fine.
Yeah, did I press a button with you? Did I press a button with you? So probably a lot of people, like, you know, even when they said you had Hashimoto's, they're probably like, nah, just drink some soup or
Drink
something
some
like
kombucha.
that.
Yeah, drink some boba.
Drink some kombucha. You've obviously been to LA. So like,
I don't know. You I don't think you were a little girl, but back in the day, like we had these little dolls that you pulled there's like this string that you pulled in the back, and the doll repeated this little phrase. Yeah, it was kind of like that, pretty much like that. Like, oh, you look fine. Oh, drink some coffee. Oh, take a pill.
Well, since it has been put into the classification of a disease, of a disability, like, do you feel like the stigma is turning around, or is it still kind of?
I don't think so. I really don't. Everyone that I have spoken with the majority of the people, if they have symptoms, like if they're actually feeling, you know, full on autoimmune symptoms, they're feeling it. But, you know, I mean, if you're healthy and your autoimmune is, I guess, I don't know if the right way to say is in remission, but it's not exhibiting symptoms, right? If you've got things under control,
Sure.
you know, then it doesn't really matter at that point, because you're not, you know, people aren't going to say anything.
Sure. So what about with employers, right? What about with talking to your employer? I mean, are employers up to it? I mean, my take is that, dude, it's in freaking like a classification system that it's a disability now. Like, should you tell your employer, and how do you go about that?
So let me back up real quick. Just a super quick backstory. So last year when I had my health crisis, I was working for a federal agency in Washington, D.C., and making a very comfortable 6-figure salary. And, you know, everything had been fine up until that point. My managers had been, you know, very accommodating. And when my health crisis hit, I got all of that. You know, I mean, I got, you know, that I was lazy, faking it, drink more coffee, take a pill, et cetera, et cetera. And I even had my FMLA, which is the Family Medical Leave Act, revoked, which is completely illegal.
Shit.
Yeah. And this is a federal agency.
Can we say your employer?
No.
I'm gonna look you up in LinkedIn right now. We're gonna find out.
No, please don't.
No, I won't.
Yeah. So anyway, I mean, my husband and I had just epic, hard, difficult conversations because, you know, especially in the Washington, D.C. area, I mean, the cost of living is just out of control. And to go from 6 figures to 0, I mean, at that point, Pink Fortitude was just a fun hobby. I mean, it was a side hustle and a fun hobby. Like, I wasn't making any money. And we weren't financially prepared for me to go to 0, but my health was at such a crisis at that point. Like, I had to resign before I ended up in the hospital for like a long period of time. And so I ended up resigning. Just, I needed to focus on my health and my family. But then after a couple months, you know, I just went full on building and scaling Pink Fortitude. And the very first thing that I did was to write the book, because I wanted to help other people. I was like, if I'm going through this, other people are going through this as well. Absolutely. So I wanted to, you know, help others. And can I shameless self-promotion, thriving in the workplace with autoimmune disease. Amazon.com, #1. Anyway.
I love you. I love it.
Shameless self-promotion. So anyway, but I wanted to help other people because I'm like, I hit the end of the internet. Like, no one's out there talking about this. And there's very few resources out there for people. So I started with, you know, kind of working with individuals like me and, you know, through my blog, through the website, through the book. And what happened was that employers started to listen and started to take notice, and hey, this is something I kind of need to pay attention to because I don't know anything about this. So I'm actually in the process of developing a training course for employers on their rights and responsibilities to educate about autoimmune in the workplace. So it's just been, I can't
awesome.
even, it was just an ocean of tears, right? When I was going through it, but coming out and just being able to spread the word and to help, not just individuals, but also on the corporate side.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's huge, right? Who gets to do that? That's crazy. So when you talked about, am I living my dream or whatever? I mean, absolutely. Like I couldn't imagine, like I wake up every day just so happy to just be able to do what I get to do.
Yeah. So let me, yes, I was like, you should have been a 9 or a 10 personally, but hey, if you got more work to do in terms of your purpose, hey, that's all on you. I do want to go back a little bit to that day where you submitted your resignation, you know, because that must have felt like how long were you in the company for?
So I was there, I started as a contractor and then went over full time. So I was there total 13 years.
So you were at this was your norm, like, like, everyone knew you, and
and they actually, so, and I don't want to get into too many details, but in the federal government, when they have different grade scales, and 15 is the highest before you get into like the executive level. Yep. And they actually had to apply to Congress to get the billet for me to go from a 14 to a 15. So when I got cancer, I ended up taking a step back down because, I mean, you just don't want to be in a high-powered, high-stress management position going through cancer, but I kept my salary. So, so I've got this like, high level, high salary, and then to zero. I mean, not only that, but then taking this, little hobby and trying to turn it into a business, like it doesn't come with an instruction manual, right?
Well, that's what I wanted to.
Right. So not just feeling like I'm not contributing financially to the family and I'm a burden to my family, but also just that, like, do I have purpose? Like, what is my purpose anymore? Like, what am I doing? How am I, plus, I'm still at that point, still very, very sick, trying to heal and sleeping, 3-4 hours a day, napping. So my life was pretty much shit at that point.
Well, yeah, and that's what I wanted to ask, because in retrospect, you're telling it very eloquently, and I'm. It's not like I'm tapping into your emotion, but I'm like, wow, if I was kind of in her place where I'd been working in a place for 13 years, they just denied my, my FMLA. Like a lot
of betrayal. There's a lot of betrayal.
Yeah, I would have felt a lot of betrayal. And then like, kind of in going to like, okay, what is the next thing that I'm going to do? I could see that like being like sort of either very like freedom, like total freedom, or like total like trauma and scariness, right? Or like a mixture of both, and like, was it right off the bat after you turned in your resignation letter, was it right off the bat that you were like, I am going to be a champion and an educator when it comes to this? Like, I want no one to go through this shit again. Or were you just kind of like, oh, let me search around and like nap on it?
It took a minute. I needed to just kind of recover for a little bit, but it was back there and it came out pretty quickly.
It did?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I wrote I resigned in April and my book was published in September.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And number one, hold it up.
It hit number one in 10 hours.
Hold it up. I'll be your marker for you now.
In the legal disability category.
Step right up and buy Thriving in the Workplace Autoimmune Disease #1 on Amazon. So I think one of the things is like 13 years you're in one thing, and then like 7 months and you've got a #1 bestseller. I want to like really respect your story, and I also want to show this as an example for people. When you fall into your purpose and it starts going 7, 8, 9, and you're like, dude, I don't know exactly what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to start writing something because like there's no real resources out there, and you're holding a bestseller with your arrogant ass on the front. You know, like so like it's amazing. It's amazing what happens when people fall into their purpose and they push forward with it.
You know, and I remember like growing up, I grew up in the country. So we had this phrase about falling in shit and coming out clean. And like, I remember.
What kind of phrase is that?
I don't know. I grew up in the country. We have a lot of crazy phrases. But no, I mean, but you think about like pigs that, you know, pigs like to wallow in dirt and mud or whatever. So, you know, you can view life as falling into that pile of shit is woe is me, I'm covered in shit. Or you can view it like,
I love it.
I'm at the spa. I'm in a mud bath, right? Like this is a time to rejuvenate.
I love it. I love it. I've heard something similar amongst like something along the line is where it's like your mess is your story, right?
Your mess is your mess. Your mess is your message.
Your mess is your message, right?
Yes.
Your mess is your story.
I don't know who said that, but yeah, I do remember. I have heard that one. Yes.
But like I love the falling in. It's a little bit different, but falling in shit and coming out clean. I'm gonna have to use that somewhere because like it really is a nice testament to like resiliency and like and it seems like and fortitude. I'm not typing it. Don't tell me what to type. I don't know how to type that.
That's my word. Here's fortitude.
Here's a couple things. Do you put fortitude in your book?
Well, my company, yes. Okay. Yep.
We'll turn to a drinking game. Pink fortitude. Every time you see the word pink fortitude, take a shot.
Drinking game. Yeah.
So we had Mike.
Wheatgrass, right?
Mike Finelli had chronic back from inflammation, intolerance to those foods. And Mike, it sounds like it's gone away. I mean, if you see Mike, he's like the paradigm of health. So that's super cool. Fiona coming back, chronic pain. Do you know Fiona or something?
Yeah.
Do you know Fiona and Mike? Okay. Chronic pain is exhausting. Employers don't always get it. When they're supportive, it's fantastic. But sadly, most don't.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing with like autoimmune and even other conditions, like fatigue and pain are two of the biggest symptoms. And you can't, like, people can't see them. They can't see what's going on inside you. And that's what's so frustrating. And, you know, part of why they call it an invisible illness. And, you know, when I go out and speak and I go out and, you know, speak to employers, I do this thing where I bring 3 people up on stage and I put the first person in a chair. I put a blindfold around the second person. I have the third person stand there. So you kind of have to imagine. So the first person's in a chair and I make them kind of go like this, right? So I was like, okay, what is this person's disability? And they're like, oh, they're, you know, in a wheelchair. They can't walk. I'm like, okay, what are you going to give them? Oh, we're going to give them a ramp and we're, you know, going to give them, I don't know, a low toilet or I don't know, whatever, something.
Yeah.
And then, okay, give the person a blindfold and a cane. And they're like, oh, this person's blind. I'm like, okay, what are you going to give them? Oh, we're going to give them a dog and some Braille. Okay, got it. The third person is standing there. Like, okay, what is this person's disability? Like, what, as an employer, what accommodations are you going to give them? And they're like, I don't know. They look fine to me. Right? Because you can't see the fatigue. You can't see the pain. You can't see the stuff that's going on inside of people.
Yeah. So what are some like reasonable accommodations that you can request?
Well, and it depends on obviously your condition. I tried to focus on fatigue and pain just because those are the 2 biggest ones, right? But you can do things like flexible work schedule if your employer allows it, that, you know, maybe you can come in early, leave early, come in late, leave late. Maybe you can work from home a couple days a week and telecommute. Things like having a private office to go to make your doctor's appointments. A lot of people with autoimmune disease have a lot of doctor's appointments. Or maybe instead of, you know, if your company gives a lunch break, instead of taking a full hour for a lunch break, that person can maybe go to a room and rest. Or maybe they can take, instead of a full hour, that they can take, you know, smaller breaks throughout the day. For pain issues, you can ask for the very desk that goes up and down. that you can stand up and sit down. You can ask for an ergonomic chair, things like that. If you have to stand, you can ask for an anti-fatigue mat. If you have problems with glare, you can get anti-glare. And these are all relatively, I mean, even a Very desk, you're looking at what, $200-$300, right? I mean, that's the most expensive thing I've said so far. Like, these are all really inexpensive options that you can ask for, or if you're an employer, you can provide. If you have like a celiac disease or Crohn's, something along those lines, with gluten sensitivity, you can ask for, to either bring in or ask for your own small private refrigerator so you don't have cross-contamination for food. I'm trying to think of what are some of the other ones. But yeah, those are, the brain fog. Why do I always forget brain fog? Like there's something. I always forget brain fog. Yeah, so if you have cognition issues, I don't know where that came from. If you have like cognition or memory issues, you can ask for everything to be in writing. So I know a lot of managers, like they do the bomb, right? The work bomb. Like they come by your desk and it's like, boom, I need you to do this. Boom, I need you to do that. Right? Yes. So instead of that, like you can ask for everything in writing, or ask, to maybe record if you have like a recording device or something like that, that you can record if they are going to give you an assignment verbally, so that you have it in writing, or you can kind of listen to it so that you don't forget, obviously. So things like that. I mean, it's like they're simple, but they make a world of difference.
Yeah, Mike is raving about sort of the stand-up stations and mats that helped him out. So I think also at the same time, for people who aren't used to asking,
yes,
this can be a very difficult thing. Like, oh, it's Hashimoto's, and like, oh, now I'm gonna ask. Like, what kind of advice do you have for the sort of the psychological thing, where it's like, oh my gosh, I everyone's gonna think that I'm like this privileged guy that has a throne to sleep on in my own private fridge,
So a couple things. First of all, if you are showing signs and symptoms and you do need accommodations, the first thing would be to talk to your human resources department and find out what paperwork needs to be filled out. And then what I recommend is you have to normally get some kind of doctor's note, right? The doctor has to say that you have whatever disease. So what I do is I recommend making a copy of that paperwork and then filling out for your doctor, like kind of what you would recommend. So kind of filling out your own, thoughts, and then giving it to your doctor, because a lot of times like they can diagnose you, but they just don't know how to fill out the paperwork. Right. So you can say, oh, well, based on this, I'm going to need this accommodation or whatever. So you can kind of help them out that way. The other thing is I always recommend, if you're going to go talk to your manager, that you have someone, either another supervisor or someone from human resources with you, just to make sure that everyone is protected during that conversation. But it is, and the thing is, like, once that genie's out of the bottle, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, right? Did I just make
Once that genie's out of the bottle, you cannot put that toothpaste back in the tube.
You know what I mean, right?
Absolutely.
Did I mix? I think I just mixed a few things. Anyway, but once it's out, like, it doesn't go back.
What are you talking about? You're talking about, like, your brain fog is turning into like this thick brain fog now. Either that or like I just need to live in the South and just like jump in mud and get clean and stuff. That is the best.
So what? No. So basically, like, once you put it out there, it's out there, right? You can't undo it. Yeah. So just make sure that you have all of your, kind of T's crossed and I's dotted and all of your information in place before you actually do present it to your employer. And the other thing too is that, and here's where it gets kind of interesting, is that if you do not disclose anything and you are having work-related issues that are a direct effect from your symptoms, right? That you can be written up in a performance review and have no legal recourse and no protection whatsoever. So if you don't disclose, if you do disclose, right, then you do have those legal protections. So it's not an easy answer. Everyone's case obviously is different, and it's also a very individual decision, that you have to make.
Yeah.
But those are some of the things that I recommend. The other thing too is social media, because if you are putting it out on Facebook, oh, I'm having a horrible fibromyalgia day, right? Your boss can see that, or if you say something to a coworker, even well-meaning, they may say something, even if, even if they're not trying to be malicious about it, they just may, say something casually and your boss can overhear. So, those are things to kind of keep in mind too, is that, if it's out there, if you're putting it out there, you may as well go ahead and get legally protected.
Okay. Gotcha. So you can be putting out the fibromyalgia stuff, but because you didn't go through the paperwork, you're still fucked.
Yes, pretty much.
It totally makes sense with the toothpaste in the tube now. And by the way, Fiona wants to know, where do you buy your toothpaste? Holly, you've said enough. All right.
I like either Tom's of Maine or Hello. They're my.
Oh my God! Look at you! Like now you're like collecting.
I get fluoride free and SLS free both.
I just moved over to, I think it's called Revitin.
It's
good. Bio. Oh, that's good too. I'm loving it. I'm loving it right now. Delicious, fresh bio system in my mouth going on. So you've said enough. I want to know what's going on with, we just talked about toothpaste. What's going on with pinkfortitude.com/thank? What's going to happen if we go there?
Oh, so we actually have over $50 worth of free ebook downloads. Yeah. Yes. Hey,
that's how redheads do.
Cool tech, by the way.
Oh, that's just a really strange birthmark.
Oh, okay. Oh, we all
no. It's a tad. That is amazing. That is amazing.
So there's books for healthy living. There's books for cancer, and there's books for autoimmune. I've got everyone covered. And in January, I actually have a new book coming out, all of my favorite DIYs. So if you want to make your own non-toxic laundry detergent and all-purpose cleaner and all the stuff around the house that you don't want to use the toxic brands, or you don't even want to buy the non-toxic brands and you want to save a lot of money and make them yourselves, I'm going to have like all these DIYs. So we even have another book coming out soon.
That is
amazing. And that's going to be free too. So.
Are you serious? That's going to be free too.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. So go to pinkfortitude.com/thank. Over $50 worth of stuff. What's the coolest thing that like is in this package?
Honestly, my favorite, I think, is the very first ebook, and that is how to make the transition to a healthy lifestyle, just because it walks you through the how-to, right? There's a lot of really good books and I love every single one of them, but that one just takes you through the logistics. Because I think a lot of times we get in our head that we want to make changes. Like we want to go gluten-free, or we want to remove some toxins, or we want to get healthy or whatever. And then we're like, okay, how do we do this? Or, we're getting close to January 1st, everyone makes resolutions, but then they fail. Like 10 days later, you're back to your old habits. Like, why are these not working? So this book kind of takes you through those steps to kind of get mentally into that place where you can make and all the logistics behind it. So regardless of what you want to do, it takes you through the logistics. And I'm a logistics girl, right? I love logistics.
Very cool. Very cool. So I have one request for your DIY. And whoever's left or watching the replay, like, let's make our own like requests for the DIY. I want to know how to make my own DIY hair dye, like free of all the bullshit crap that's in it.
Okay, so are you serious? Like, you're not?
Yes, I'm serious.
This isn't a planted question, is it?
No. And if you tell me how to do it, I'll do it.
Okay, so
But like, I don't want my head to look like beet juice or anything like that. I want it to look like Ronald McDonald hair.
All right. So two things. Number one, I actually use.
Oh, you already know it.
Yeah. So number one, I actually use Madison Reed, who is about as all natural as they come. Madison Reed.
Madison Reed. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that a person?
It's a company.
Is that your stylist?
So that's the all natural brand that I use. But when I was first transitioning, because I am a natural redhead, but I also, sometimes the wrong shades of blonde show up, right? So I need to have a little help. So I actually do get it, gently colored a little red.
Yeah.
Enhanced. So when I first started transitioning, I was like, okay, I need to do this like all natural by myself. So I actually went through the DIY and I legit used beet juice. And it
is beet juice.
Yes. No, wait. So you put it on, right? And then you go beet juice, right?
And then someone shows up and changes your color red. Okay, gotcha.
No, but what's crazy is that I literally just found out that if you search all natural red DIY, like all natural red hair DIY or something like that on Google, it comes up as number one. It's like the number one. Yeah, it's like the number one search on Google for all natural red hair dye DIY.
Really? Well, I'm gonna.
That's why I was like, "Is this a planted question or something?"
No, it's not a planted question. Does it look like I have a questioning rap for you? I'm just drawing pictures the whole time of you farting and like exploding into space.
And eating tacos.
And eating tacos. You've said enough. I'm gonna talk to you about because my next color is purple. For the new year. Yes, I've let the cat out of the bag. Like, so the brand's going to go purple. So I'm going to talk to you about that later. You've said enough. You've said way too much. And we haven't heard enough yet. That's why we need to go to pinkfortitude.com/thanks. And thank you for offering all this stuff up.
Absolutely.
And also thank you for being a good sport about this. It's very obvious that you were going through a trying time, and I'm happy that we can laugh about it now and have a good time with it.
And you know what? And here's the thing too. Like, it's not just a website, right? Like, I actually connect with everyone. I answer all the emails myself. I don't push that off to my team. So I actually, when I say you're a part of the Pink Fortitude family, you legit are a part of the Pink Fortitude family. Like, come in, put your feet up, grab something gluten-free out of the refrigerator and make yourself at home.
That is amazing. So pinkfortitude.com. This is the time. The broken ass mic. The broken ass mic, but there is a golden mic. There is a golden mic that is coming.
And congratulations on your soon to be 100th show. That is awesome.
Yes, I want you showing up and dropping some fart bombs on us at the 1000th show. I want you to show up. I want you to be there. Thank you. But yes, for the 97th time, the golden mic is coming down from your ceiling and it's stopping in front of you, Holly. Now, this golden mic for 3 minutes or less translates into every language all across the world, which means the entire world is listening to what it is that you have to say to it. So, Holly, your golden mic is live now.
Okay. So I get to say anything I want? That's awesome. So what I like to tell everyone is to start your day with gratitude, because you never know what kind of day you're going to have. It could be a happy day. It could be a really sucky day, but start your day with gratitude and don't think of one or two things that you're thankful for. Like, go big. You've got 10 fingers, right? Think of 10 things. When you wake up, when those eyes open up, say your gratitude. Say 10 things you are thankful for. And that is going to start you off on an awesome day. And then you know what? Because we do go big at Pink Fortitude, you're going to end your day the exact same way. Say those 10 things. They could be different. They could be the same. 10 things you're thankful for, and end your day with gratitudes as well.
Amazing. I want you to take that golden mic now, Holly.
Yay.
Now I want you to drop that golden mic like it's hot. Boom! Fart bomb explosion at the end of it. Holly, you have said it all. You have had quite the life. You literally you have jumped into the pigsty and come out clean. And pink fortitude is the result of all of this. Congratulations with everything that's going on with what you're currently doing and what you're doing in the future. It sounds like you're going to continue to build on that momentum and just keep doing it, sister. We over here at the Golden Mike, we've got your back. You are now a part of the alumni group. And so I want you to come back and tell us what you're doing. And this is my final thing. For those of you who are watching live or the replay, if you're feeling good, like we talked about at the beginning, if you're feeling happy, and if you're living your life to your full purpose, what is your responsibility to change history for the better? This is Holly. I'm Mark. This has been Golden Mike 9. Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow. Stick with me. Stick with me. Stick with me.